Aha! Build video time. I'm working on the Vaterra Ascender 1/10 scale four-wheel drive off-road truck. And I have to tell you that I have moved ahead in what I was doing only because I had to correct a few mistakes that I had done just by not understanding the book correctly. But as I moved forward, I started to understand more and more. One of the things I'll touch on before we get into the assembly of the axles and stuff is some of the viewers said, hey, listen, Medic, your front motor looks like it's too far forward. And indeed it was. So I did have to adjust where the sliders were. I did not see in the book, it does say to use the Chevy Blazer body it comes with. It's actually wheelbase number 4, which is 314 millimeters. So WB4. I'll get into that with the links. But here is how you can tell where your frame is. 1 stage, 2 stage, 3 stage, and then the 4th. So with that in place, I moved this whole piece, even though it didn't matter what setting it should have been on. As far as I understand it, this should have been placed differently. Just with the angle in the instruction book, it was kind of hard to tell. So folks that are building along with me, I do apologize. That would have been a little misleading. But hopefully you're getting to this video here and you'll see it's just removing a few screws to actually move it back and forth. Now, I did go ahead and use a Savox servo. Of course, Horizon suggests that you use one of the Spectrum ones, but this one is waterproof and it's got quite a bit of torque. So I did use that one. I did mount it up as well. You'll note that depending on the wheelbase length that you have, the position of your servo in the instruction book will change. It will either turn sideways or it'll be different mounting techniques, okay? So watch out for that one. But for the stock, as far as I understand, the stock wheelbase of 314 mils, this is exactly where the servo goes. We'll find out as I progress, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. So I did put the battery tray in right here, and we'll show you how that works as we move on. And of course there is the radio tray where the receiver is going to go in. I also mounted the Esc Plate, piece of cake, just mounted to framing that we put in earlier and 2 screws. There's no nuts on the bottom, it just goes into the plastic molding. So that is complete for me right now. I'm going to put that in the back, and I want to talk a little bit about the links that I was working on. Because in fact I did struggle trying to figure it out. Of course, when I understood that I was using wheelbase 314 or wheelbase number 4, that I was supposed to go through and instead do the 314 mils. These are rear lower link assemblies times 2, so that would give me 2 lowers in the rear. Here's the rear upper link assembly. We needed 2 of these at 314. Now here's the difference. The way it goes together is with a spacer on either side. The way I had it was just 1 spacer, which would have been appropriate for wheelbase number 3 as well as others. So as I went through, I was trying to figure it out, and I couldn't figure out why there was only 1 link for the front. It's the front upper assembly. Now I'll get to the front in a moment, but let's talk about the back, because this one is completed and really easy to see. So if you are building along, at least now you can see how I would have it done. This is why I like going ahead in the book and instead of doing it step by step, which can be confusing for me even when it's a brand new kit. I like to go forward and show people the completed product so they know exactly, what it looks like in the end. So the top 2, spacer, 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 spacer. You can see these are the long ones. Same with the ones on the bottom. Shocks get mounted on the outside with a longer screw that goes through the middle, and these top links also have a screw that goes through, and it has a lock washer on the end, or a lock nut, pardon me. All right, the front one was a little bit more confusing. Check that out. What? I got a link in the wrong spot? No, I don't. This is just very unique the way it's been designed. So one link on the top, you'll notice that it's only got one spacer. Geez, I hope I got this right. Only one spacer. Yes, it should be on this side, but I actually flipped it around. Shouldn't make a difference in the performance. But there is not another link beside it. In fact, it's just a bolt that goes through. It's countersunk, pardon me, right in there. And it has a lock washer on the end as well. I still have this piece poking up though. Da da da. Now, this little piece of paper I did not mention because I was also confused about it and I knew I could cover it in this video anyway, so let's do that. No real words on here to describe what's happening, but they've assembled a piece also with just one spacer and an eyelet on the end, not one of those little hat collars like here. And I'll also note that as well. In the back assembly, these are just little round eyelets. They're not that hat collar. Okay, so that's so it fits in there easily. Hat collars on the end though. So this one right here is showing a picture at least, because pictures kind of go past language barriers. But for us that are following along that didn't understand what this little piece was for, it's actually to build a link that goes to this little horn on the C-hub. This is the one that had the horn. And right now, it just goes up like so. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. All of these don't have two spacers, they just have one. And then on the front, we had the steering assembly that I did off camera, but I did talk about it in the last video. And then this little fella, that's the front throw arm with a ball and shaft. So here we are. This is where I'm at now. There are different size drive shafts ends. Hopefully I picked the right one while I was building it. I don't know. We'll find out as I go. And yes, I've been using a drill. The whole build I've been like, don't use a drill because you like to torque things on your own. But if you have an adjustable drill, which a lot of us do, these I find are good for zipping in the links because I'm really not going into plastic. I'm going into lock nuts, and when I'm doing that, I'll use a drill. It's a little bit faster and easier on my old wrists. Okay, so now you know what this piece of paper is for. If you're building along, it's for this little fella on the front that sticks up off of the horn. The beauty is when it fits together with the horn, the little hat collar is countersunk and goes right in there and doesn't cause any bind issues at all. Somebody asked, are these front covers actually aluminum? No, they are chromed plastic. Alrighty, so here we are. I'm ready to move on to the next stage. Let's clear this up and see how to do it. Dang it, medic, why do you keep doing that and not showing me how to do it? Same reason I just mentioned. Thank goodness, because I was swearing at the camera for about a half an hour just trying to figure out how the heck this picture came together. So instead, I kind of assembled it, got it together, and figured I'd show you what the end product looks like for the front axle installation onto the frame. Now it's really quite ingenious once you get it together. Check it out. So what you're looking at here is that horn I was talking about coming off of the one shock tower, and it ended up taking that long link that we had from that little piece of paper and bringing it down for a panhard system. Okay, so this is quite a long rod right here. And then underneath, my friends, there is a steel post that moves from here or here, wherever you start, and goes right through like that. Now, a lot of people are saying, geez, this is different. We've never seen that kind of design before. RC athletes, this is a shout out to you, buddy. And I agree. I've never seen this system either. So you end up putting a grub screw right in there, and this rod just kind of sits in there. Now, I did have to be a little bit forceful with these rod ends just to get into this small gap. In fact, I had to use a small hammer just to tap them in there. I thought maybe eyelets could have been used there, but as far as I understand, it is those hat collars for the rod ends. And with the post sitting there, I moved on. Now, everything, when you look at this kind of thing, once you see it, it's really kind of easy to understand. Otherwise, it was a bit confusing like it was for me. But with everything in place, I'll show you this top link. Remember that single link? that actually goes to the second, or I should say the first screw that you can't quite see right there. That one is a screw that comes through and has a nut on the end, which is right in front. If you're looking at it from the front, it's on this side, okay? So really easy once you figure out how to get it installed. Then you've got a great panhard system, and look at the flex. Pretty nice. So with flex like that, I don't mind putting in a little bit of extra effort to see what the instruction book is telling me to do. Now the back axle. I imagine this one's a little bit more simple because we don't have the panhard option. And here you can actually see the shaft going through the back of the slider tray where the transmission is mounted to. Also, just a few screws going in to the back shock towers. Now, remember earlier, if you've been actually following the build with me, these long aluminum shafts go in. This isn't unusual. We've seen this kind of design before. But what's going on is on the front, you'll see it's finished. There was no screws when I put it in to begin with. It just kind of sits there in a pre-seated or countersunk hole that's in there. And once you start hooking up the shocks, it's actually the shock screw that goes right into these posts, making it quite rigid. Everything attaches very nicely and easily there. Also, lots of clearance for my battery tray. When I had this moved too far forward, I couldn't figure out why the heck the battery tray was so far forward, because this crossbeam actually gets in the way. So if you have that issue, if you're building the stock one for the Blazer body, that actually this whole thing had to slide back, and then you'll have lots of clearance for your battery tray. There we go. Hat collars towards the back, I always do. Oh, wrong screw size. Look at that. So there you go. I was going to use these ones, but in fact what you have to do is just like what the book says, use the 25 millimeter screws. The reason why is because they have to fit through the shock tower, and into that aluminum piece. There we go. Easy peasy. Looks like the shocks are settling in nicely. Yeah, want to make sure those hat collars are in the right spot. And as that starts to poke through, I'm going to use a pair of needle nose pliers just to grab up that little nut, put it in place right there, cinch that up. Just test the flex. Looks good. Underneath, the top links are attached to the back in the motor mount plate right here. So it actually had a piece of plastic that came off, 2 little nuts. Attach those right on and test it. So that is now installed. What are we looking at here? So that's the complete chassis assembly. Yay! Next are the sidebars, the front and rear bumper installation. Da, 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 right there, G1. Shows you what we're doing. So I'm going to be breaking into bag G. What do we got here? Our bumpers and our slider kit. Okay, so this one goes on the front. This is the Vaterra front bumper. Nice, it's got a little fair lead there for a winch. I like winches. Also looks like if you don't have a winch, you can put in this little cap. Is that upside down? Something like that. I'll figure that out. But I'm going to leave it open. What do I need that for? Of course I'm going to have a winch in there eventually. Done. Beautiful. There we go. Next, I guess, let's have a peek at what's next. Well, tires. Tires and foams. Now I've already kind of moved ahead. The foams came in my tires already. All I had to do was to put the bead lock on. I have not glued them into place. For no other reason than I didn't feel it was necessary yet. I will be gluing them into place shortly. But just to show you, there are rims on the inside. Make sure your foam is not in the way. drop some glue in there. You don't have to use very much. Tire glue is actually exceptionally sticky, and if you use too much, it'll kind of come out around the bead and make a drip mark, which looks kind of icky. But in the meantime, not a big deal. These are the 4 wheel nuts in bag G21. Pooh! Get those out. Where is my trusty cross wrench? Get this last one in place. Now, I made sure that the hexes, here, I might as well show you, just in case you're new to this. On the back of your tire hub are the hexes that line up with this adapter right there. What you want to do is make sure before you tighten it that it's in place properly, or else when you tighten it down you might strip it out. The plastic rim, that is, and then you're kind of SOL right out of the gate. Alright, so with this being in place, we've almost come to the end of the build. I haven't installed the ESC with the soldering yet. I'll end up doing that off camera because I have many videos showing how to do soldering. But the tires are all in. Look at the length. I know you guys can't tell, but this is an exceptionally long vehicle with these bumper mounts giving you the additional length, which is kind of neat. Also, I can tell that my wheels are quite wide. Install G4 is the body posts. Body post used with the included Chevy K-5 Blazer body. Well, that is in bag G as well. Let's pull these out. I also see some body clips in there. I'll show you what I mean by those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. Looks like it gives you some extra options. Did they give you 2 extra ones for the front and back? This raised one is going to be used because it's a Chevy body, because it has a higher back end to it. So these will go right here. Really simple. Well, you guys can't see that. I guess it's a little off camera. But they just fit in the posted areas. Not so bad. You're going to notice there's 1, 2, 3, 4 posts, or clips, pardon me. And then these little screws are not normal. These are little set screws. They're actually threaded on the head. Now the threaded ones are actually going to be threaded through the back end here. Now, let's just make sure I have this right. Hopefully I have this right. The instruction book is still telling me that it's the other way around, that these body posts should be moved to the front. So I'm still going to discover. I might have that wrong, and of course I'll report to you if that's the case. I'm sure it is. Instruction books are rarely wrong, but in this case, are they? So I've lined up the hole properly so that that screw can be countersunk. Little grub screws. Same with this. I'm going to count the number of holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and a half are poking out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and a half is poking out. Perfect. And then I can run this one into place with confidence. Now I just picked that. I don't have any measurements. I just picked that. I might have to adjust it a little later. And then the front body posts go in. Now these also get screwed into place. And what these clips are for will be for your body. So they actually just get, here I'll show you on camera there. They actually just get stuck through here just for now, just so I don't lose them. Now I haven't set up the steering, that's why everything's a little bit floppy. Again, that's something I'll just do off camera because it'll be nice and quick. And I'm also going to dry fit the body because these posts actually have to be drilled out through the body. And do I have the body nearby? I do not. Sure I do, it's always nearby somewhere. A lot of you may have noticed that I've still left the cover off for my spur gear. And that's, it's a protector so you don't get your fingers caught in there and torn up or whatever, your hair or whatever. But I want to adjust this slipper clutch before I put that shroud on. Now the body has not been cut out. And the reason I'm even showing you this right now, let's just back up the camera so you can see. The reason I'm showing you this right now is to show you why you have longer body posts in the back. When everything is cut out here, of course, the posts have to come up through the top holes up here. So if you had just these little shorties, they wouldn't reach. Anyway, so there we are. This is the distance of the build I'm going to go for with you guys. They still have some body things to cover, but I'm going to be doing that on my own as I paint it. When I paint it, I still have not decided on a color. If you guys want to post up what color you want to see down below in the video comment section, you're welcome to do that. Of course, in 2 weeks from now, when I've already got it painted on the trail, it might be a little irrelevant. So do it now while you have a chance. Anyway, so there we are. I'm going to look at this more. I want to kind of see how all of this fits together. So I'm still going to need a little bit of time off camera to do it. Put the soldering in, you know, hook up the steering, paint the body. So I won't have that out right away. But this is basically your roller, including your servo, including your motor. And it looks like the drive shafts that I selected were just the right size. So I'm glad. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I will do a follow-up video with this when I am ready, but there you go. I hope, even though I made a few mistakes, I apologize because I'm learning as well. I hope that this has helped you if you're building one of these kits, and it helps you, you know, kind of be introduced to 1/10 trail truck kit building. The Vaterra Ascender, my friends. Take care. If you want to see more, subscribe as always, unless you're subscribed, in which case, see you next time.